Intelligence reports flooded into the Leviathan's command center as Lieutenant Dan Foster, the ship's reconnaissance specialist, coordinated with human intelligence networks throughout the galaxy. The news was uniformly alarming. Alien civilizations were mobilizing for what appeared to be total war. Commander Morrison, the hegemony has activated defense platforms throughout their core systems, Foster reported, his voice tense with concern. These weapons haven't been used in over 1,000 years. According to our intelligence, they're powered by stellar energy collectors and can generate planet-killing levels of destructive force. Jake studied the tactical displays showing alien military movements across dozens of star systems. The scale of mobilization was unprecedented in galactic history. They're treating humanity as an existential threat to their entire civilization. Admiral Stone's voice crackled over the communication system from the Olympus. All human vessels maintain defensive postures but be ready for immediate combat operations. Our long-range sensors indicate massive fleet buildups in 16 different sectors. The situation took an unexpected turn when War Marshal Krexdock transmitted a direct challenge to the human fleet. His message was broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring that every species in the galaxy would witness what happened next. Human warriors, Krexdock's voice boomed across space. The Korthic Empire recognizes strength when we see it. Rather than waste countless lives in fleet combat, I propose single combat between champions to determine whether your species deserves recognition as warriors. Commander Morrison looked at Ambassador Rodriguez, who nodded slowly. This was an opportunity to demonstrate human capabilities without triggering a galactic war. War Marshal, I accept your challenge. I will represent humanity in single combat against your chosen champion. The announcement sent shockwaves through both human and alien ranks. Most species would never risk command personnel in individual combat, preferring to send expendable soldiers or professional gladiators. Dr. Clark was analyzing the cultural significance of Morrison's decision. Commander, by accepting personal combat, you're demonstrating a level of individual courage that most alien species associate only with legendary heroes. This will have enormous psychological impact. Meanwhile, Dr. Clark had made disturbing discoveries about humanity's unique evolutionary path. Her research into galactic biology revealed that most alien species had evolved from either pack hunters with rigid hierarchies or hive-minded organisms with collective consciousness. Ambassador, we're dealing with species that think fundamentally differently from humans, she explained. Most of them evolved from creatures that survived through conformity and group cooperation. Individual initiative and creative problem-solving on our level is completely foreign to their experience. The implications were staggering. Human tactical thinking, with its emphasis on individual adaptation and improvisation, would be nearly impossible for alien commanders to predict or counter. What humans considered normal battlefield flexibility would seem like chaos to species accustomed to rigid command structures. On Earth, Admiral Phillips was overseeing the deployment of humanity's most closely guarded secret, the massive shipyard complex hidden in the Kuiper Belt. The facility had been under construction for 30 years. Disguised as a deep space research station, Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Carol Stone briefed the Earth Council on humanity's true industrial capacity through secure quantum communication. Council members, we haven't just built 12 warships. We've created the infrastructure to produce dozens more. Our shipyards can construct a Titan-class vessel every 6 months, the revelation that humanity possessed not just a fleet but a military-industrial complex capable of sustained production changed the strategic equation completely. Any war with humanity would be a contest of attrition that the aliens could not win. The galactic economy was already showing signs of collapse as news of humanity's arrival spread throughout civilized space. Veltari trade networks, built on centuries of predictable supply chains and established relationships, faced disruption from a species that operated outside all known commercial frameworks. Economic analyst Gex Moll transmitted his dire predictions to the Veltari leadership. The introduction of human manufacturing techniques could trigger complete market collapse within months. Their artificial intelligence systems alone could dominate financial planning and resource allocation across the entire galaxy. Smaller species throughout the galaxy began reaching out to humanity directly, bypassing the major powers entirely. The aquatic deepsworn sent a coded transmission expressing interest in human protection From Hegemony Expansion Policies. The Silicon-based Crystalline Collective, neutral for 10,000 years, requested technological exchange agreements. Ambassador Rodriguez realized that humanity's arrival had shattered a delicate balance of power that had persisted for millennia. Admiral, we're not just dealing with first contact anymore. We've triggered a complete reorganization of galactic political structures. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes was intercepting increasingly desperate communications between alien intelligence services. Ma'am, several factions are planning coordinated strikes against Earth itself. The logic is simple. Eliminate humanity before they can establish permanent presence in galactic affairs. The problem facing the aliens was that they had no idea where Earth actually was located. Humanity had been careful to approach from directions that revealed nothing about their home system's position. All alien intelligence services knew was that humans existed somewhere beyond the galactic rim. War Marshal Krexdock's chosen champion arrived aboard Nexus Prime in a specialized combat transport. Theclon was a genetically enhanced Korthak warrior, nearly 3 meters tall and equipped with natural weapons that could tear through most known armor materials. Commander Morrison prepared for the combat in the Leviathan's gymnasium, working through tactical scenarios with Major Kate Williams, the ship's security chief. Commander Korthak warriors rely on overwhelming physical superiority and natural weapons. Your advantage will be tactical flexibility and environmental awareness. The combat arena on Nexus Prime had been configured to provide a neutral environment for both species. Artificial gravity matched Earth normal, while atmospheric composition accommodated both human and Korthak respiratory requirements. As Morrison entered the arena, alien observers filled the viewing galleries. This single combat would determine not just humanity's military reputation, but their psychological impact on galactic civilization. Victory would establish humans as a warrior species worthy of respect. Defeat would mark them as technologically advanced but physically inferior. Theclon entered from the opposite side of the arena, his massive form impressive even by Korthak standards. His natural chitinous armor gleamed under the arena lights, and his forearms ended in claws capable of rending metal. He had never lost a challenge combat in over 50 engagements. Human warrior. Theclon growled in accented standard. You are small and weak. Your technology cannot help you here. This will be brief. Morrison smiled and drew his combat knife, a simple titanium blade that looked insignificant compared to the aliens' natural weapons. We'll see about that, Theclon. The combat began with Theclon charging forward, using his superior reach and strength to force Morrison into defensive positions. The alien's fighting style was brutal and direct, relying on overwhelming force to crush opponents quickly. Morrison's response demonstrated everything that made human tactics so unpredictable. Instead of meeting the charge directly, he used the arena's environmental features, bouncing off walls and using gravity to redirect his momentum in ways that confused his opponent. When Theclon expected direct confrontation, Morrison disappeared behind equipment and struck from unexpected angles. When the alien adapted to guerrilla tactics, Morrison switched to direct assault, using his smaller size and superior agility to slip past the creature's defenses. The psychological impact on alien observers was immediate and profound. They were watching a human demonstrate the kind of tactical flexibility that their species considered impossible. Morrison was adapting his fighting style in real time, using strategies that Theclon had never encountered. Dr. Clark monitored the combat from the Leviathan, analyzing alien communications. Commander, they're calling it chaos fighting, because they can't categorize your tactical approach. To them, adaptability without predetermined patterns looks like random behavior. The fight continued for nearly an hour, far longer than most Korthak combat scenarios. Theclon was becoming frustrated as his superior strength and reach failed to provide the quick victory he had expected. Morrison's unpredictable movements and improvised tactics were wearing down the larger warrior. The decisive moment came when Morrison used the arena's artificial gravity generators against his opponent. By manipulating the gravity controls during a grappling sequence, he caused Theclon to lose balance and fall heavily. Morrison's combat knife found the gap in the alien's natural armor, and Theclon yielded. The silence in the arena lasted for nearly a minute before War Marshal Krexdock began the traditional warrior's salute. The human fights with honor and cunning. Your species has earned recognition as warriors. The aftermath of Commander Morrison's victory in single combat sent ripples throughout the Korthak Empire. War Marshal Krexdock transmitted new orders to his fleets, calling for a temporary halt to military preparations. For the first time in centuries, the Korthak had encountered a species that fought with honor, while demonstrating tactical abilities beyond their understanding. Human warriors proved themselves worthy of respect, Krexdock announced to his assembled commanders. We will observe their diplomatic efforts before committing to warfare. Any species that produces such individual fighters deserves careful consideration. However, the hegemony remained committed to military action. High Chancellor Vextar had spent his entire political career maintaining the established order, and humanity's arrival threatened everything he had built. His massive fleet continued moving toward human space. Over 400 vessels representing the largest military force assembled in galactic history. Aboard the Leviathan, Lieutenant Sarah Kim detected the approaching hegemony armada through long-range sensors. Commander, we have incoming hyperspace signatures. The hegemony fleet will arrive in approximately 6 hours. Commander Morrison looked at the tactical displays showing the enormous alien formation. Even with humanity's technological advantages, facing 400 enemy vessels would result in heavy casualties. Ambassador, it's time to implement the final phase of our diplomatic strategy. Ambassador Rodriguez activated the quantum beacon that would summon the entire human fleet. The signal traveled instantaneously through quantum entanglement to shipyards throughout human space. Within minutes, every available human warship was moving toward Nexus Prime. Admiral Stone coordinated the massive fleet movement from her flagship. All vessels maintain formation integrity during hyperspace transition. We're going to demonstrate the full scope of human naval capabilities. The space around Nexus Prime filled with hyperspace signatures as ship after ship materialized in perfect formation. The 12 Titan-class vessels from the original fleet were joined by 18 additional warships, creating a display of military power that stunned even the most experienced alien observers. Admiral Stone's voice broadcast on all frequencies with calm authority. This is Admiral Carol Stone commanding the United Earth Systems Fleet, all alien. Vessels will maintain current positions and prepare for diplomatic negotiations. Hi. Chancellor Vextar stared at his tactical displays in disbelief. Intelligence reports had suggested the humans possessed 12 advanced warships. The 30 vessels now arranged in battle formation represented military capabilities far beyond anything in the galactic database. War Marshal Krexdock studied the human fleet composition from his position aboard the Korthak flagship. Their formation patterns suggest tactical coordination that we've never encountered. Each vessel appears capable of independent action while maintaining perfect fleet cohesion. The standoff lasted for hours as alien commanders frantically calculated odds and found no scenario where they could achieve victory without catastrophic losses. The human fleet's combined firepower could probably destroy every alien vessel in the system, while their advanced defensive systems would make them nearly impossible to damage with conventional weapons. Dr. Clark chose this moment to broadcast on all frequencies, sharing technological innovations that could benefit every species in the galaxy. Honored representatives, humanity offers to share our advances in energy generation, medical technology, and environmental restoration. These innovations could solve resource shortages and environmental problems plaguing dozens of worlds. Her message included technical specifications for fusion reactors that could provide unlimited clean energy, medical nanotechnology that could cure most diseases, and terraforming techniques that could make barren worlds habitable. The potential benefits were enormous, but accepting human aid would mean acknowledging their technological superiority. Trade Representative Zexnal was the first to break the diplomatic deadlock. The economic benefits of human technology could revolutionize galactic civilization. We should negotiate rather than fight. However, the most significant intervention came from an unexpected source. The Crystalline Collective, ancient beyond measure and neutral in galactic politics for over 10,000 years, transmitted a message that changed everything. The Overmind's voice resonated across all communication frequencies, its crystalline tones carrying the weight of millennia. Young species of flesh and thought, the collective has observed your debate with interest. These humans represent chaos, but chaos necessary for evolution. Their arrival marks the beginning of a new era. The endorsement from the Crystalline Collective carried enormous weight throughout galactic civilization. Their species had witnessed the rise and fall of dozens of galactic powers, remaining neutral through every major conflict. For them to take sides in this dispute was unprecedented. High Chancellor Vextar realized that his options were rapidly disappearing. The Korthak had withdrawn their support after Morrison's combat victory. The Veltari were calculating the economic benefits of human alliance. Now the Crystalline Collective had endorsed humanity's place in galactic civilization. Admiral Stone transmitted a final ultimatum to the alien fleets. All vessels have 30 minutes to withdraw to minimum safe distance or face the consequences of continued hostile actions. The threat was not empty posturing. The human fleet's weapons systems were charging, their antimatter reactors providing virtually unlimited power for extended combat operations. Any battle would be brutally one-sided. High Chancellor Vextar made the most difficult decision of his political career. All hegemony vessels stand down from combat readiness. We will enter diplomatic negotiations with the human representatives. The formal signing of the Galactic Accords took place aboard Nexus Prime 3 days later. Ambassador Rodriguez represented humanity alongside Admiral Stone, while High Chancellor Vextar signed for the hegemony and War Marshal Krexdock represented the Korthak Empire. The agreement established humanity as the seventh major galactic civilization, with full voting rights in the Galactic Council and recognition of human territorial claims. More importantly, it created new protocols for technological and cultural exchange that would benefit all species. Dr. Clark was appointed as humanity's chief science liaison, responsible for coordinating the transfer of human innovations to alien civilizations. Her first project involved sharing fusion technology with resource-poor worlds in the Galactic Rim territories. Chief Engineer Cross established technical exchange programs with alien scientists, teaching controlled antimatter techniques to species that had previously considered such technology impossible. The knowledge sharing was carefully managed to prevent military applications. While maximizing civilian benefits, Commander Morrison received orders to establish humanity's first permanent diplomatic station in the Nexus Prime system. The facility would serve as a center for human-alien cooperation and a symbol of humanity's integration into galactic civilization. As alien representatives began arriving for formal diplomatic sessions, Lieutenant Kim intercepted a transmission from deep space that suggested new challenges ahead. Commander, I'm detecting quantum signatures from beyond the galactic rim. Something large is investigating our quantum beacon transmissions. Captain Burke analyzed the sensor data with growing concern. The signatures don't match any known galactic species. We might be dealing with another unknown civilization. Admiral Stone reviewed the intelligence reports from her position aboard the Olympus. It appears that humanity's arrival has attracted attention from beyond our current borders. The galaxy may hold more surprises than we anticipated. Ambassador Rodriguez considered the implications as she watched alien diplomats struggle to understand human concepts of individual rights and democratic governance. Admiral, we've achieved our primary objective of ensuring humanity's survival and independence, but I suspect our real challenges are just beginning. The establishment of human colonies proceeded with alien cooperation for the first time. Worlds that had been considered too dangerous for habitation were transformed using human terraforming technology. Species that had been resource poor for centuries suddenly had access to unlimited clean energy. War Marshal Krexdock established the first joint military training program, where Korthak warriors learned human tactical flexibility while humans studied alien combat techniques. The cultural exchange proved beneficial to both species. Trade Representative Zexnal negotiated economic agreements that integrated human manufacturing capabilities with established galactic trade networks. The result was increased prosperity for numerous species while maintaining market stability. 6 months after first contact, the galaxy had fundamentally changed. Human technology was revolutionizing industry and medicine across dozens of worlds. Human tactical thinking was being studied by military academies throughout civilized space. Most importantly, the rigid hierarchical structures that had dominated galactic civilization for millennia were beginning to evolve. Captain Burke's final log entry captured the scope of the transformation. Humanity didn't just arrive in the galaxy, we changed it forever. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in the largest chamber on Nexus Prime. Representatives from 47 different species filled the tiered seating, their varied forms creating a mosaic of scales, fur chitin and crystalline structures. The air recycling systems worked overtime to accommodate the different atmospheric requirements. High Chancellor Vextar called the session to order, with 4 sharp strikes of his ceremonial staff. Fellow representatives, we face an unprecedented situation. The arrival of this human species threatens to destabilize everything we have built over the past 3 millennia. War Marshal Kreckstock rose from his position among the Korthak delegation. His massive frame towered over most of the other representatives. I have reviewed the tactical data from our encounter with their vessel. These humans possess weapons technology that renders our current military doctrines obsolete. Trade Representative Zexnal clicked his mandibles nervously before speaking. The economic implications are equally concerning. If they introduce their manufacturing techniques to the broader galactic market, it could collapse our established commercial networks overnight. Meanwhile, aboard the Leviathan, Commander Morrison was receiving disturbing intelligence reports from his communications officer. Lieutenant Sarah Kim had been monitoring alien communications since their arrival, and the news was not encouraging. "Commander, I'm detecting massive fleet movements throughout the sector," Sarah reported. "The hegemony has activated at least 300 vessels from their reserve fleets. Korthak battle groups are converging from 4 different directions. Even the Veltari have hired mercenary forces." Jake studied the tactical displays that Captain Burke had prepared. Red icons marked the positions of alien warships as they moved into strategic positions around human space. The numbers were overwhelming, but Jake knew the aliens had no idea what they were really facing. Dr. Clark joined them on the bridge, carrying a data pad filled with her analysis of alien communications. The cultural barriers are more significant than we anticipated. Most of these species have never encountered democratic decision-making or individual initiative on our scale. Ambassador Rodriguez activated her quantum communicator to contact Earth. Admiral Phillips appeared on the main screen, his expression serious as he reviewed the same intelligence reports. "Ambassador, the situation is escalating faster than we predicted," Admiral Phillips said. "Our long-range sensors show alien fleets massing at over a dozen strategic points. They're treating this as a potential invasion scenario." Lisa nodded grimly. "Admiral, I think it's time to reveal more of our capabilities. They need to understand that aggression would be costly for everyone involved." Admiral Phillips agreed. "Very well. Commander Morrison, you have authorization to demonstrate our defensive technologies. Make it clear that we're prepared to protect ourselves without being overtly threatening." Back in the council chamber, the debate had grown heated. A small reptilian delegate from the Scalekin Protectorate spoke up. "These humans have been spying on us for decades. They know our military capabilities, our trade secrets, our political weaknesses. This gives them enormous advantages in any conflict." Dr. Keksmol, who had been analyzing the human vessel's energy signatures, stood to address the assembly. "Honored representatives, I must share some disturbing findings from our technical analysis. The humans appear to be using controlled antimatter reactions for power generation. Most of our species abandoned this technology as too dangerous for practical use." The revelation sent murmurs through the assembly. Antimatter technology was theoretical for most species, and those who had attempted to develop it had usually suffered catastrophic accidents. High Chancellor Vextar addressed the assembly. "If these humans have mastered antimatter technology, their single vessel could potentially destroy entire fleets. We must assume they have similar capabilities in other areas of military science." On the Leviathan, Chief Engineer Cross was preparing a demonstration that would prove the aliens' assumptions correct. He had selected another asteroid, larger than the first, to showcase human weapons technology without directly threatening any alien vessels. "Ambassador, we're ready to proceed with the demonstration," Cross reported. "This should give them a better understanding of our capabilities." Lisa activated the communication array and addressed the Galactic Council. "Honored representatives, to address your concerns about our intentions and capabilities, we'd like to provide a demonstration of our defensive systems." The main display in the council chamber showed the view from Nexus Prime's external cameras. The Leviathan hung in space like a metallic predator, its angular hull reflecting the light of distant stars. Cross targeted the asteroid with one of the ship's main railguns, not just a point defense weapon this time. The electromagnetic accelerator charged with a low harmonic hum that could be heard throughout the ship. When he fired, the tungsten projectile achieved nearly 25% of light speed. The asteroid was over 2 kilometers in diameter, large enough to destroy a city if it impacted a populated world. The railgun projectile struck it dead center and the entire mass simply disintegrated. The kinetic energy was so enormous that the asteroid was converted to plasma and dispersed as the expanding cloud of superheated gas. The silence in the council chamber was absolute. Even War Marshal Kreckstock, veteran of a dozen major campaigns, stared at the display in shock. No weapon in the galactic arsenal could generate that level of destructive force. Dr. Clark used the stunned silence to share more unsettling information about human capabilities. That projectile was fired from our secondary armament. Our primary weapon systems are significantly more powerful, though we hope never to use them in combat. Trade Representative Zexnel was performing rapid calculations in his head. The energy requirements for such a weapon would drain the power systems of most of our largest vessels. How do you generate sufficient power for multiple shots? Chief Engineer Cross smiled as he answered. Our antimatter containment systems can provide virtually unlimited power for extended operations. We could maintain that rate of fire for hours if necessary. The implications were staggering. Most alien weapons relied on energy storage systems that required recharging between battles. The humans appeared to have solved the fundamental power limitation that restricted galactic military technology. Lieutenant Colonel Hayes was monitoring alien military communications, and the news was troubling. Commander, several alien commanders are discussing preemptive strikes on our home system. They believe eliminating Earth would solve their human problem. Jake nodded. He had expected this response. Arya, please prepare the quantum beacon for activation. It's time to show them the full scope of human preparedness. The ship's AI responded immediately. Quantum beacon ready for activation, Commander. Shall I send the recall signal? Ambassador Rodriguez looked at the tactical display showing alien fleet positions. Over 800 vessels were now moving into position around the sector. The aliens clearly intended to use overwhelming numbers to compensate for their technological disadvantage. Admiral Phillips, we need immediate support, Lisa said through the quantum communicator. The aliens are preparing for major military action. Admiral Phillips nodded from his position in Earth's command center. Understood, Ambassador. Admiral Stone is standing by with the full fleet, activating quantum recall now. The space around Nexus Prime suddenly filled with massive hyperspace signatures as 11 additional Titan-class warships materialized in perfect formation. Each vessel was as large and threatening as the Leviathan. Their combined sensor signatures so powerful that several alien ships suffered system overloads from electromagnetic interference. The flagship of the human fleet, the UES Olympus, took position at the center of the formation. Admiral Carol Stone's voice came across all communication frequencies with calm authority. This is Admiral Stone of the United Earth Systems Fleet. All vessels will maintain current positions and refrain from hostile actions. The effect on the alien fleet was immediate. Ships that had been moving into attack positions suddenly reversed course, seeking safer distances from the human formation. The tactical balance had shifted dramatically in humanity's favor. High Chancellor Vextar stared at the display showing 12 human warships in perfect formation. Each vessel radiated power signatures that exceeded anything in the galactic database. Impossible. No species maintained such advanced fleets in secret. Where did these ships come from? War Marshal Kreckstock was studying the formation patterns and tactical positioning. They're not just technologically superior. They're demonstrating coordinated fleet tactics that we've never encountered. Look at their spacing and fire control systems. Dr. Clark decided to address the aliens' confusion directly. Honored representatives, Earth has been preparing for this moment for 50 years. We've built our fleet specifically to ensure humanity's survival and independence in a hostile galaxy. The admission that humans had been preparing for interstellar conflict for decades sent another shock through the alien representatives. Most species took centuries to develop major military capabilities. Yet humanity had created this fleet in a fraction of that time. Ambassador Rodriguez activated the main communication array and addressed the Galactic Council directly. Her words carried across space to every listening vessel and monitoring station in the system. Honorable representatives of the galactic community, humanity offers formal diplomatic contact under the established protocols of interstellar law. High Chancellor Vextar felt his breathing chambers constrict with shock. These humans were not only speaking perfect hegemony standard, but they were referencing specific legal frameworks that were supposed to be classified information. How could an unknown species know about internal council procedures? Impossible. War Marshal Krexdock growled from his position at the tactical display. Those protocols are restricted to member species only. How do these humans possess such detailed knowledge of our governmental structures? Lisa continued speaking, her voice calm and professional. We have observed your civilizations for several decades through long-range monitoring and communication intercepts. We know about the recent trade disputes between the Veltari and the Korthak Empire. We're aware of the hegemony's expansion into the outer spiral territories. We understand your concerns about resource depletion in the core worlds. The alien representatives began talking among themselves with increasing agitation. Trade Representative Zexnel clicked his mandibles rapidly, a sign of extreme nervousness in his species. They know about classified economic reports. Our secure communications have been compromised for decades. Dr. Clark stepped forward on the Leviathan's bridge. Ambassador, perhaps we should demonstrate our technological capabilities to establish credibility. Lisa nodded and addressed the aliens again. To prove our peaceful intentions and scientific advancement, we'd like to share some of our technological innovations with your scientists. Chief Engineer Cross had prepared several demonstrations designed to impress without threatening. He activated the ship's external cameras and projected the images to the alien vessels. We'll begin with a simple display of our defensive capabilities. A small asteroid drifted nearby, probably debris from some ancient mining operation. Cross targeted it with one of the Leviathan's point defense railguns. The weapon fired a tungsten projectile at 15% of light speed. The asteroid didn't just explode, it simply ceased to exist, vaporized by the kinetic impact. The silence on the communication channels lasted for nearly a full minute. Finally, War Marshal Krexdock spoke, his voice filled with something approaching awe. That projectile velocity exceeds our understanding of practical weapons engineering. How do you achieve such acceleration without destroying your own ship? Cross smiled as he prepared his response. We use electromagnetic acceleration combined with gravity manipulation fields to reduce inertial stress on the launch mechanism. The technology is based on principles your scientists dismissed as impossible approximately 200 years ago. Dr. Clark activated her own communication channel. We'd also like to share some of our scientific discoveries. We've developed practical applications for quantum computing, controlled fusion reactions, and biological regeneration techniques. The mention of quantum computing sent another wave of shock through the alien representatives. Most galactic species had theoretical knowledge of quantum mechanics, but practical applications had always proven impossible. Their computer systems were still based on traditional electronic processors. On Nexus Prime, a small delegation of scientists had gathered to monitor the communications. Dr. Kexmol, the station's chief research coordinator, studied the data they were receiving from their scans of the human vessel. The power readings are consistent with controlled antimatter reactions. They're using technology we consider too dangerous for practical application. Ambassador Rodriguez continued her presentation. We understand that many of our technologies may seem advanced, but we're eager to learn about your scientific achievements as well. The diversity of galactic civilization offers tremendous opportunities for mutual benefit. High Chancellor Vextar finally found his voice. Human representative, your species appears to have been observing us without permission for decades. This constitutes espionage and violates several interstellar treaties. Lisa had expected this accusation. With respect, High Chancellor, those treaties apply only to member species of the Galactic Council. As an unknown civilization, we were exercising our right to gather information about potential neighbors before making formal contact. We're now prepared to end our observation period and engage in proper diplomatic relations. The legal argument was sound, much to the aliens' frustration. Unknown species were technically allowed to study galactic civilization before making contact, though none had ever done so with such thoroughness. War Marshal Krexdock leaned forward in his command chair. Your vessel's design suggests a warrior culture, yet you speak of peaceful intentions. Explain this contradiction, Captain Burke answered from his tactical station. Marshal, we've learned that the galaxy can be a dangerous place. Our ship is designed to protect our diplomatic mission and ensure our safe return home. We hope never to use our weapons in anger, but we're prepared to defend ourselves if necessary. The concept of defensive warfare was familiar to the aliens, but the scale of the human vessel suggested capabilities far beyond simple self-protection. The Leviathan could probably destroy most of the alien ships in the system single-handedly. Dr. Clark decided to address the cultural concerns directly. Perhaps we should explain our governmental structure to help you understand our intentions. Humanity operates under democratic principles, where major decisions are made through collective debate and voting rather than hierarchical command. The alien representatives struggled to understand this concept. Most galactic species had evolved from either hive-minded organisms or strict pack hierarchies. The idea of making important decisions through argument and consensus seemed chaotic and inefficient. Trade Representative Zexnall spoke up. This democratic system sounds unstable. How do you maintain order without clear leadership hierarchies? How do you make rapid military decisions in combat situations? Lieutenant Colonel Hayes answered this question. Our democratic principles guide our overall policies, but we maintain clear command structures for military operations. Our officers are trained to make independent decisions when necessary, which gives us tactical flexibility that rigid hierarchies often lack. The mention of independent decision-making alarmed many of the alien military observers. Their tactics were based on predictable command responses and established battle doctrines. Enemies who could improvise and adapt in real time would be extremely difficult to counter. Area, the ship's AI, requested permission to address the aliens directly. Lisa granted approval, knowing that this revelation would have the greatest impact of all. Greetings, representatives of galactic civilization, Arya said in perfect hegemony standard. I am Arya, an artificial intelligence created by human scientists to assist with communication, navigation, and tactical analysis. The reaction was immediate and intense. Most galactic species either feared artificial intelligence or had strict laws prohibiting its development. Ancient records told of AI rebellions that had destroyed entire civilizations. The idea that humans not only created AI but trusted it with military applications was terrifying. High Chancellor Vexitar's voice shook with alarm. You have created artificial minds and given them access to your weapons systems? This violates every principle of safe technology development. Dr. Clark responded carefully. Arya is not a weapon, Chancellor. She's a thinking being created to help us understand and communicate with other species. She has ethical programming that prevents her from harming intelligent life. Arya continued the explanation. I exist to serve humanity's peaceful goals. My primary function is to facilitate understanding between species and prevent conflicts through better communication. I have no desire to harm any living being. The concept of an AI with ethical programming was beyond the aliens' understanding. Their historical experiences with artificial intelligence had always ended in disaster, leading most species to abandon such research entirely. War Marshal Krexdock studied the tactical implications. An artificial mind with access to your ship's systems could process battle information faster than any organic crew. You have created the ultimate tactical advantage. Captain Burke nodded. Arya helps us coordinate our systems more effectively, but human judgment remains central to all important decisions. She provides information and analysis, but we make the choices. Trade Representative Zexnall was calculating the economic implications. If your AI can process information at superhuman speeds, you could dominate our trade networks through superior market analysis, Lisa reassured him. We're interested in fair trade relationships, not economic domination. Arya's capabilities could actually help stabilize your markets by providing more accurate economic modeling. The aliens were beginning to realize that humanity represented a complete paradigm shift in galactic civilization. Everything from their technology to their social structures operated on principles that challenged established norms. Dr. Kexmol transmitted his analysis to the Council. Based on our scans and their demonstrations, Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Leviathan and watched the stars shift as his ship dropped out of hyperspace. The massive vessel shuddered slightly as it returned to normal space near the edge of the Nexus Prime system. 3 kilometers of human engineering and determination stretched behind him, bristling with weapons that most alien species would consider insane to build. The bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. Lieutenant Sarah Kim monitored communications while Captain Ryan Burke kept watch on the tactical displays. Every screen showed the same thing. They were being scanned by dozens of alien ships that maintained what they clearly thought was a safe distance. Jake turned to look at Ambassador Lisa Rodriguez, who sat calmly in her diplomatic chair. She had spent months preparing for this moment, and her steady breathing showed no sign of nervousness. Behind her stood Dr. Amy Clark, the expedition's lead scientist, reviewing her notes about the alien species they were about to meet. "Ambassador, we're receiving multiple scanning attempts," Sarah reported from her station. "At least 40 different ships are trying to get readings on our hull composition and power systems." Lisa nodded and activated her personal communicator. The quantum link connected her instantly to Admiral Connor Phillips back on Earth, despite the vast distance between them. "Admiral, we've arrived at Nexus Prime. The welcome committee is larger than expected." Admiral Phillips's voice came through clearly. "Understood, Ambassador. Remember, we're here to establish humanity's position as equals, not supplicants. The Zephyrian attack on our colony ships cannot go unanswered. But we'll handle this diplomatically if possible." Lisa ended the connection and looked at Jake. "Commander, what's your assessment of their positioning?" Jake studied the tactical display that Captain Burke had prepared. "They're maintaining a standard defensive formation, but they're clearly afraid. Most of their ships are older designs built around plasma weapons and particle beams. They've never seen anything like our kinetic systems. On Nexus Prime Station, emergency sessions had been running for hours. High Chancellor Vexitar of the Hegemony paced in the main council chamber, while representatives from dozens of species argued about what to do. The massive alien looked like a cross between a lizard and an insect, his forearms gesturing wildly as he spoke. "This vessel appeared from nowhere," Vexitar declared to the assembled diplomats. "Its power readings exceed anything in our databases. We must assume hostile intent until proven otherwise." War Marshal Kreckstock of the Korthak Empire disagreed. The heavily built warrior species representative slammed one massive fist on the council table. "If they meant to attack, they would have done so already. This appears to be a first contact scenario, though I admit their ship design is completely foreign to our understanding." The trade representative from the Veltari Consortium, a thin insectoid creature named Zexanol, clicked his mandibles nervously. "The economic implications are staggering. If this species has technology we don't understand, it could destabilize our entire commercial network. We need to know where they came from and what they want." Back on the Leviathan, Dr. Clark was reviewing everything humanity knew about galactic civilization. For decades, Earth had been monitoring alien communications and studying their technology from a distance. The information painted a picture of a galaxy dominated by 3 major powers and dozens of smaller species, all locked in a careful balance of trade, warfare, and diplomacy. "The hegemony controls about 30% of known space," she explained to Jake and Lisa. "They prefer energy weapons and have a strict hierarchical society. The Korthak Empire holds another 25%, and they're known for close-quarters combat and boarding actions. The Veltari run most of the trade networks and prefer economic warfare to direct military action." Chief Engineer Nathan Cross joined them on the bridge, wiping grease from his hands. "Ma'am, all systems are running at optimal levels. The antimatter containment is stable, and our AI systems are functioning perfectly. If they try to scan our technology, they're going to get some interesting readings." Lisa smiled at that. The aliens had no idea that humanity had spent 50 years preparing for this moment. Earth's hidden shipyards had produced not just the Leviathan, but 11 other Titan-class vessels all waiting in reserve. More importantly, human artificial intelligence had advanced far beyond anything the galactic community thought possible. "Aria, please give me a status report," Lisa said aloud. The ship's AI responded immediately in a pleasant female voice. "All systems nominal, Ambassador. I'm detecting significant electromagnetic chatter from the alien vessels. They appear to be debating our intentions and capabilities. Shall I begin translation protocols?" Dr. Clark looked amazed. "Aria has been learning their languages from intercepted communications. She can now speak fluent Hegemony Standard, Korthak Battletongue, and 17 other alien dialects." On Nexus Prime, the debate continued. A small mammalian delegate from the Deepsworn spoke up. Perhaps we should try standard first contact procedures. Mathematical sequences, basic physics, universal constants. If they're truly an unknown species, they should respond appropriately. High Chancellor Vexitar's scales rippled with agitation. And if they don't respond appropriately? What if this is some kind of weapon designed to look like a diplomatic vessel? The energy readings suggest they could destroy this entire station with a single salvo. War Marshal Krexdock studied the tactical reports his officers had prepared. Their ship design makes no sense according to our understanding of engineering principles. The power-to-mass ratio is impossible, yet there it sits. Either they've discovered new physics or this is some kind of elaborate deception. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Hayes, the Leviathan's military attaché, was monitoring alien communications from his station. Commander, they're definitely scared. I'm picking up fleet movement orders from at least 6 different species. They're calling in reinforcements, Jake nodded grimly. Expected. Ambassador, I think it's time to make our introduction. Lisa stood and straightened her diplomatic uniform. Arya, open a channel on all standard frequencies. Use Hegemony Standard as the primary language. The AI complied instantly. Channel open, Ambassador. Lisa took a deep breath and began the speech that would change galactic history. Greetings to the Galactic Council and all assembled species. I am Ambassador Lisa Rodriguez, representing the human species and the United Earth Systems. We come in peace, seeking dialogue and mutual understanding. The effect was immediate. On Nexus Prime, the council chamber fell completely silent. The idea that these unknown aliens had been monitoring their communications long enough to learn perfect hegemony standard was terrifying. It meant they had been watching, studying, preparing. War Marshal Krexdock was the first to respond. Unknown vessel, you speak our language with perfect fluency. How is this possible? How long have you been observing us? Lisa smiled, though the aliens couldn't see her expression. Long enough to know that the Zephyrian attack on our colony vessels was unprovoked and violated several of your own interstellar treaties. We're here to establish formal diplomatic relations and ensure such incidents don't happen again. The mention of the Zephyrian attack sent another shock through the alien representatives. The Zephyrians were a minor aggressive species that often raided shipping lanes, but the fact that these humans knew about specific attacks meant their intelligence network was far more extensive than anyone had imagined. High Chancellor Vexitar activated his own communication system. Human vessel, you will maintain your current position and submit to inspection. Any movement toward Nexus Prime will be considered an act of aggression. Jake looked at Lisa, who nodded slightly. Understood, High Chancellor. However, I should point out that we're currently in neutral space according to your own navigation charts. We have every right to be here under interstellar law. The fact that the humans knew interstellar law sent another ripple of concern through the alien representatives. This wasn't a simple first contact situation. These humans had been studying galactic civilization for years, possibly decades. They knew the legal frameworks, the political relationships, even the military capabilities of the major powers. Dr. Clark activated her own communication panel. If I may, High Chancellor, we'd like to propose a formal diplomatic exchange. We have scientific and technological information that might benefit all our species, and we're eager to learn more about your civilizations. The bridge of the Leviathan remained calm as they waited for the alien response. Jake knew that every second of delay meant more alien warships were moving into position, but Lisa's strategy was working. By demonstrating knowledge of galactic law and customs, humanity had established itself as a civilized species rather than unknown barbarians. The real test would come when the aliens realized just how advanced human technology had become and how different human thinking was from anything they had encountered before.